Yes, people, and welcome back to another video on the Bridge YouTube channel where we bring you all things Chelsea. I'm your host with the most, the Bridge 258, here to talk about Upwatch, your usual weekly show where we talk about the other opposition teams, their wins, their losses, and my thoughts and opinions on them. Let's get into it, guys. So, let's discuss the main game, the big game that happened yesterday, of course, at 4:30 at the Emirates Stadium. Manchester City versus Arsenal, where Arsenal were able to get a 1-0 win, courtesy of a Martinelli deflected goal in the 85th or 86th minute, if I'm not mistaken, around about then anyway. So, let's discuss it. So, I feel like the game was kind of like a very quiet, boring game. Part of it because, both teams were able to tactically nullify each other, in my opinion. Both of them are tactically nullifying each other. I also think, part of it also was the fact that Man City were missing KDB and they were missing Rodri, who they had actually lost due to suspension anyway, so he wasn't able to play for them either. And they almost had like somewhat of a workman-like midfield of like Kovacic and Rico Lewis as well. But at the end of the day, both teams really were nullifying each other. There weren't that many of their players going forward when they were attacking as well. To be honest, they were leaving quite a few players there. I think for me though, obviously if you look at that game, Arsenal I think were able to make their own luck to be able to get that ability to win too. The ability to win, essentially, in my opinion, with them putting that pressure and then doing that little tactical change where they essentially went from defense to attack and didn't go through the midfield at all, and that kind of eventually helped them out, in the long term against Man City, particularly in that last 10 minutes, in my opinion. I thought Rice played really well in the second half too. He had a really good performance. He's always been a good player in my mind, so he's only just showing that he's a very good player and can play at a high level, in my opinion. Saliba, I think, did a really good job against Haaland. I also think, but I feel like the Wolves, one of the Wolves defender, whose name I literally forget right now, Dawson. Yes, Dawson did a great job, in my opinion. If you really watch the tape here, when he was playing against Haaland, against Wolves 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, he did a really great tape of like, if you mark him 1v1, as in you're the defender that's always on him, I think he can do a great job, essentially, of nullifying Haaland's attacking threat. And it's just down to your other guys in defense, whether it be the other centre back and the two fullbacks to help you out, to help out and do the other defending. But like if you get one defender to man mark him, literally you can take Haaland out of the game there. And for me, even if that's the case, you still got Julian Alvarez in the Man City team who they were able to do a good job nullifying as well. Part of it for me, obviously, is that I know that Pep didn't want to play any wingers, but I really feel like this is a game where Dogu could have really shined and really had could have really done something here, because that's something that I feel like would have worked really well against this Arsenal defense, in my opinion. But we can agree to disagree on that one. At the end of the day, he's the coach. I'm just a fan at the end of the day. But for me, if there was a tactical change I would have made, I would have had Doku playing and instead. So I also think the decision to play Bernardo very deep was also not right, in my opinion, because I don't think he offers you any defensive qualities. The only thing you can probably, because like already, and also I feel like all he does is a similar job to Kovacic, because Kovacic, as you guys will very know, Chelsea fans here also will know who watch my channel, that he's very much, yes, he's got that level. Yes, Djokovic has got a very good defensive ability, I would say. But for him, yeah, he's the dribbler. He's the one that brings it from point A to point B, and he's very good at doing so. And I don't think he needs someone like Bernardo who's also similarly able to dribble very fast and get somewhere from A to B, in defense too. So I don't understand that personally either. So we move on that one still. But at the end of the day, man, Arsenal have been able to beat that curse, of beating Man City. It seems the Community Shield thing wasn't a joke thing, you know what I'm saying? But will they win the league? I still do not believe they'll win the league. I think for me, they faced quite a weak Man City team, in my opinion, and I would argue. And also, like, if Man City had Rodri and KDB, would they have won? I think they would have, in my opinion, personally speaking. And I've been seeing this Haaland debate as well going on. Like, oh, look, see, Brighton goal scoring, what does Haaland offer you? And I agree to an extent. I disagree to an extent, because obviously Haaland is a fox in a box player. You're the one you're meant to give him, enough quality, give him a lot of quality chances, and once you give them to him, he'll be the one to be able to put them to the back of the net. Now, I usually I would say for the regular day football, that is not it for a striker. A striker needs to provide more than that. And I think for me personally, if you're Haaland, yeah, and if you're Pep, you want to be able to get him to learn a few more things, like, interlinking play, passing it around. He doesn't need to dribble. Like Lewandowski cannot dribble, guys. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, I feel like he's a very similar archetype to him. You don't need him to make him dribble. What you do need him to do is be able to get the ball, use his physicality a bit more. Hold up play. Make that pass to the side, whether it be to the wingers, or maybe just wait in behind, make that back heel into maybe another attacking midfielder or striker that's next to him. That's what you need him to do. I just think he needs to have better link up play. That's all he needs to add to his game, really. Into better link up game and just better passing. Once he can add those two together, then I feel like Haaland will be genuinely unstoppable. So that's all it is for me. But at the end of the day, Arsenal won that game 1-0, and we'll see what happens there. They're now joint top with the next team we're going to be talking about, Tottenham. Now, Tottenham obviously beat Luton, turned 2-1. There was obviously a red card after a second yellow for my guy Bissouma for diving, because he dived twice like an idiot. Like, it's not as if... I don't understand after the first yellow why he didn't understand, let's not dive, please. You know what I'm saying? But it was a bit stupid in my opinion. Sorry, it was 1-0, not 2-1. But, like, again, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it... Tottenham, obviously, they're doing a good job, man. They're beating the opposition that's in front of them. They've only really had, I would say, how many games they've had? Barring Arsenal, they've had obviously Arsenal, and they've had United, and that's pretty much all I can remember of the big teams that they've faced so far. So it's going to be interesting to see, obviously, who else they have coming up. But they've had a relatively sound fixture that's really allowed them to help them understand, the type of team, understand their team, and help them to develop. Similarly to like a Chelsea, I would argue. So hey ho, man, we'll see what happens with Tottenham, and whether or not they can continue this reign of form. Now let's go on to the next game that I want to talk about, which is on my guys, Brighton versus Liverpool. Ended 2-2. It was a very, very good game to watch, I would say. I felt in the first half, Brighton were able to really pounce on Liverpool. They were pressing them like hell, and obviously that's how the goal really came via Adringa. He was able to get the ball where they were able to get the ball via pressing, and then Adringa was able to shoot it from the midfield into the back of the net there. Now obviously Liverpool were able to come back via Mo Salah, and via Mo Salah, that was a great hold off by Javier to not connect the ball, and then he was able to put into the back of the net, and then there was a penalty. That was a penalty, I'll be honest. Gross was literally, he was like holding the guy back like this. He was saying, give me your chain back. Almost like he's acting like a road man. Big up, chill out, Gross, you know what I'm saying? Big up to Gross, innit? So, by the end of the day, he's able to put into the back of the net to make it 2-1. Now, obviously, later on in the second half, Brighton were able to come back in via equaliser from the captain, leader legend, Dunk. And then there was a big chance for João Pedro, and just like a few moments later, where he could have just literally tapped into the net, but he just had, his whole form was wrong. Like, he was in, and then he just hits it over the bar. So ended 2-2. But again, having a 6 is really hurting Liverpool in my opinion. Because they're obviously being forced to play my guy McAllister there, and they're making McAllister look like he's a bum. He's not a bum, That's what's making it kind of like, I feel sorry for McAllister, because he's looking like a bum. The way people are questioning my guy, it's not nice, man. It's not easy for him at all. So I feel sorry for McAllister at the end of the day. On that one too. Even when Gravenberch came on, not doing that much defending. He's literally playing as an 8. So it's almost like they're playing just 3 8s at this point. Like, I'm not understanding how their midfield works once, and I can see why teams are getting goals. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's almost becoming like very similar to like the old Liverpool, where instead of it being a defensive problem, it's like a midfield problem. And what's happening is that teams are just able to bypass their midfield and just face the defense directly, and that's what's causing problems. Now Van Dijk, I'm not sure how to explain it. He wasn't great in this game either, I'll be honest. He was having a meh game. They were literally like trying to target him as the guy that they were doing the pressing on, so it wasn't easy there too. And, at the end of the day, man, eventually, Alisson is not going to be able to bail you out non-stop. Eventually, Alisson's not going to be able to bail you out to making these great saves that he's making in the Brighton's game, and what he's been doing this season and the previous season. Eventually, that's going to run out. So, as a team, you have to fix up. Now, what I don't understand then, and what I don't understand either, is the Endo deal now, because if, you've brought Endo to be your 6, and now you're not even using him at all, so what's the point of having him in the team? Makes no sense to me personally, but, at the end of the day, we'll see what happens there. Now, obviously, who else have I spoken about? Arsenal, Man United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Tottenham. Pretty much, yeah, I think that's all the teams that we need to speak about. Oh yeah, also Newcastle drew 2-2 against West Ham. It was an interesting game. Obviously, Isak double to bring them back to life, which was pretty nice, and could have scored in that one too. But hey ho, man, we move. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you, Man United. Man United obviously came back from 1-0 down in the last like basically 3 minutes of the game via a McTominay double header to basically beat Brentford. But the reality of the situation is, in Man United, it's still the same shit, different season. You know, this is probably going to be another result which hides behind the carpet, and then you know, in a few to 2 weeks or 3 weeks time, people are going to be talking, oh look how shit United is, look how shit United is. But like Brentford's gonna hide it. They obviously got Sheffield next, then Copenhagen, and then the big game, Manchester City, which I believe is either on the 28th or 29th of October. So that's gonna be what they're gonna get crashed on. Another 6-0, bro. Trust me, love and trust us giving another 6-0. But we move. But that's the video, guys. As always, please make sure to like, share, subscribe. As always, I'm literally 40 away now from getting 1K subscribers. So it would be really helpful for you guys to help your brother out here. But as usual, I've been your host with the most, the Bridge 258. Love and trust, dedicate your hearts, and we'll be seeing each other very, very soon. Boom.